And Prime Minister Narendra Modi departs from Washington, D.C. for New York. Those are the live visuals there of the Prime Minister leaving Washington, D.C. He will be emplaning for New York right now after attending the Quad Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. and also having a bilateral meeting with President Joe Biden. And India and the U.S. underscored the importance of combating terrorism in Afghanistan during Prime Minister Narendra Modi and U.S. President Joe Biden's first ever in-person bilateral meeting. Delegation level talks were also held. The Prime Minister now to embark in a short while for New York from Washington, D.C., where the Quad Leaders Summit and Prime Minister Modi's bilateral meeting with President Joe Biden was held. And joining us now is our correspondent Ramesh Ramachandran from New York. Ramesh, Prime Minister Modi in a short while from now, after concluding that extremely successful Quad Leaders Summit, to embark for New York.
Indeed, Rukma, we are seeing these latest visuals of Prime Minister Modi's entourage making its way to the airport in Washington, D.C. He will soon be taking off for New York City for the second leg of his visit to the U.S., where he will address the United Nations General Assembly tomorrow morning, New York time. That's 6:30 p.m. India time. And as we can see on these visuals, Prime Minister Modi is about to get off his entourage and board the aircraft for New York City. And just to give our viewers a sense of what has happened in the last several hours in Washington, D.C., he began the day by having a bilateral standalone meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden at the White House. This viewers might want to make note of. That this was a rare bilateral in-person meeting. Why do I say that? Because President Biden has hosted only so many world leaders at the White House in the midst of the ongoing pandemic. He has hosted Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide of Japan. He has hosted Chancellor Merkel of Germany. He has hosted South Korean President Moon Jae-in, and most recently Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the UK. So Prime Minister Modi was only the fifth world leader to be hosted by Biden at the White House. And that bilateral meeting was in two parts. First, a one-on-one with President Biden, followed by delegation-level talks in which Mr. Modi was joined by his top aides, including National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla, and others. And we just heard from Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla address media persons in Washington, D.C., where he said that this was a successful visit, and a joint statement will likely be issued very soon, which will give a detailed characterization of their talks in Washington, D.C. at the bilateral meeting. And Prime Minister Modi also joined the other Quad leaders at the first ever in-person Quad Leaders Summit, which was held soon after their bilateral meeting ended. And in that Quad meeting as well, the focus was on regional security issues, including Afghanistan. So all in all, this was a productive visit. Many firsts there, Rukma, the first ever bilateral in-person meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Biden. And also, as I mentioned before, the first ever in-person Quad Leaders Summit.